Okay. Sorry, I already put us in live. And okay, we're live now.
Hi everybody, and welcome to Media Trading Expert live and free. I will sort out that background and get it changed over. That's super exciting show today. Really appreciate you guys joining us for it. Today, for the first time, we are going to go for the double guest, and we're going to split the show up into two parts. My first guest tonight will be Adam Phillips, CEO of Miles Capital. Adam's going to talk a little bit about automated execution, what got to his journey, the thing he wished he'd understand early. Look, it's 20 minutes this session with Adam, and we're going to play that as a recording. Today is Adam's wedding anniversary, and 8:30 on a wedding anniversary evening in Sydney was just a bit beyond what we could do for him tonight. And look, we've moved the show to a new night. So welcome to the new night, everybody. We've moved it to Wednesday night for this week only because I've got IFP on the weekend and I'm traveling tomorrow to go away and prepare to do that. And I just want a bit of a quiet night tomorrow, so we decided we'd do a Wednesday this week instead. Welcome to the show, and I do hope you do enjoy it. Look, I think the interview with Adam is brilliant, and he'll talk a little bit about some stuff that is interesting to different groups of people. He will talk a little bit about his accelerator program. He will talk a little bit about the Tommy Trader robot, which is the robot that he uses for automatic execution. He'll talk a little bit about his trading journey. I did the interview this afternoon. I really did enjoy it, so I'm going to encourage you to stay with us while we do that. And after that, I'm going to have Ainsley live in the Zoom to have a chat about seasonality. I'm really interested. I think it's one of the things that people miss about Ainsley, and one of the characteristics I believe that all of the successful traders that I have got two or three things that they favor heavily. And, for Ainsley, one of the things is seasonality. There's two indicators that she uses in conjunction with that. Julian, seasonality,
RSI.
But also the sentiment cycle. He's heavily into that. And most of them have got two or three things that they really use quite a lot and rely on quite heavily, and they're really good with. And I think that's one of the things about having one or two or three different things that you use in your trading regularly. Over a period of time, you become exceptionally good at using them. And we're going to hear a little bit today about both Adam and Ainsley's the things that they do a little bit of to give themselves an edge in the market. Look, if you have any questions, look, again, at the end of the show today, we're going to do a draw, and we're going to give away a session to Adam's course on the 27th of June, I think it is, Sunday week. And we will do that. If you ask a question during the session, then obviously we'll give you two entries like we do. If you're on Facebook or YouTube and you want to go into the draw, just write your name in the comments area, and Mai will jump in and she will add you to the draw. So we make sure you get you guys into the draw as well for that. Obviously, we can't ask Adam any questions directly, but if you have any questions, put them in the questions box. And if Angie and myself can help you with them, we will come back and do that before we get into our interview with Ainsley following this. Look, I think it's going to be a cracker hour, and always it's about trying to get a little bit more stuff for you guys and to help you guys become a little bit better. And I think today you'll take away a couple of absolute gems. So do stay with us. Mai, are you able to play the interview with Adam for me now, please? Hi, Adam. Thanks very much for joining us in the session today. I really appreciate you. Wedding anniversary, taking some time to come and record the session with me before the session this evening. Thanks for your time.
Pleasure, Paul. Good to be here.
Mate, it's always nice to know a little bit about the people behind the trader. So what can you tell me about your history, what got you into trading, what it is you like about trading, and why you're still doing it?
Sure. I guess I've been involved with trading in financial markets for over 20 years, which sounds like a long time now, but it seems like just the other day I first started watching markets on screens. I guess my early introduction was as an execution trader at a futures broker by the name of Ord Minnett Jardine Fleming. And that was an interesting time period for me, seeing a variety of different traders executing into futures and forex markets, utilizing different strategies. So some were systematic. A lot of the traders were also discretionary. And that role actually involved placing orders in the US futures markets on behalf of clients here in Australia. After being there for a couple of years, I moved to a smaller broker where I particularly was interested in anyone that had a systematic strategy with a view to allocating some seed capital to them to help bring these strategies into the market with a view that, look, longer term, maybe we could increase the capital allocations and potentially form a business around that. So I allocated to a couple of strategies. One was a volatility breakout strategy. Another particular fellow used sort of neural networks to forecast prices, but it was the vol breakout strategy that was very successful over a couple of years. And we onboarded a few investors, and one of them, I think they started out with about $25,000, and several years later they became a cornerstone investor of a hedge fund essentially that I set up called Bluefin Capital. That allocation amount went up to $10 million, enabled me to get on board a quant, a developer, and that business grew over a few years to not only be trading Forex, but also commodity markets. Essentially, we had what we call a multi-strategy approach. The business got registered as a commodity trading advisor out of the United States, and we grew those assets up to around $80 million US dollars. And that was some very interesting times because we traded through the GFC.
Yep.
2008, when everything was going haywire, and we were quite fortunate at the time because the breakout style strategies we were running were very successful. Moving forward on from there, we essentially hit a little bit of a rough patch, which will happen in any sort of systematic trading approach. When in sort of 2011, 2012, with sort of compressed volatility, some of the trend following strategies we were running went flat. There wasn't a lot of movement. I know just the other day you were asking me, saying, look, these currencies are moving sideways over the last few months. When are we going to see some big moves? And I guess the thing is you can't always be sure. Typically you hope for good trends 2 or 3 times a year in a lot of the markets that we're trading. So following on from that, with Morris Capital, essentially it was a fellow that I'd known for quite a while who was interested in doing some funds, and so they lent on the licensing that we had at Bluefin. And after achieving his own license, that via me as a responsible manager, we've sort of built out more a focus on the sort of Forex area within this business. So at the moment, we're running a little bit under 10 million across our portfolios, and we do a variety of things. So we have some discretionary managers in there, but predominantly it's, I guess, mainly systematic.
Yeah, you've always liked the systematic approach, haven't you? It seems to be a theme that's run through this history that a level of automation and a level of systematic trading suits your personality, right?
Yeah, look, it suits me. I guess the ability to sort of automate strategies can mean that you participate in opportunities that you might not be able to if you were, for instance, asleep. And part of the interest factor for me is that while markets are always evolving, there's certain components of them that do stay the same, right? Like, at the end of the day, yes, there's a lot of algorithms and computers doing a lot of trading, but there's also a lot of people involved in the markets as well. And, there's certain patterns and cycles that will tend to repeat themselves. I guess I also have an interest in technology and seeing how that's evolved over time. Back in the day, we used to send a bunch of spreadsheets to banks and brokers, and they would then monitor those orders in a manual fashion. Whereas these days you can actually code up your own strategies and have them sitting on your own MT4 terminal. So you can sort of, even smaller people or traders just starting out can run automated strategies. I guess.
After you.
Yeah. One of the things that's also appealing, I guess, is at the end of the day, the results also are black and white. So while there's a lot of different ways to, generate returns, there is that one final arbiter, which is your trading statements.
Which is one of the things, isn't it, Adam? If you've run a decent-sized fund and you've been in the market for 20 years, the only way you do that is by creating results.
That's right. Look, at the end of the day, that's what you're looking to do with your capital, and also investor capital is to grow that by interacting with the market.
Look, I've got a few questions about that for you. So first of all, you've been in it a long time. I like your journey. What is it that is the automation that you particularly enjoy? What is it you really enjoy about trading, and why stay in it? Obviously, you can do other things if you chose to. Why stay in trading?
Sure. Look, I enjoy the process that's involved. So when I get up in the morning, I'll have a look what happened in the US markets overnight. I'll briefly scan the headlines. So, I have a direct interest in, sort of macroeconomic factors that are happening around the world. I guess my day as well can be fairly diverse. So while I probably spend maybe an hour from a risk management perspective, just checking out the trading strategies, how they've performed overnight, and that sort of aspects, I also do have time to, assist some of our acceleration traders, which is a product that we have at Morris, where we look to help people who have got some experience and have started trading to potentially expand what they're doing. So overall, I enjoy markets.
I like that, mate. And I've got to ask, Morris Capital managing around $10 million. They've got you in there. You've got a long track record. Why the accelerator program? Why help fund traders that are coming through, and why help them develop into better traders? Why bother?
Sure. Look, I guess part of our model, the largest hedge funds out there often have banks or teams of traders that are managing the capital. So I guess it comes down to diversification. Having been in the markets for many years, I've seen a variety of strategies have varied success at different times, and also the personality of the trader can impact how well they do. I've seen discretionary traders, sometimes they can make an absolute killing over a 6-month period, and then the market regime can shift and they can be a little bit out of sync. So I guess we're looking to make good returns on our invested capital, and we don't think that we know everything. There's always room for slightly different and varied approaches to the market. So I guess with the acceleration program, it gives us potentially a chance to expand our team at some point in the future. And as of now, we do have a couple of authorised reps which are managing capital, and they'll have their products potentially available through our funnel and our network over the coming months and years.
Cool. Is that one of the reasons that you partner with Actions to Wealth? That's to see if we could help develop some traders and move them onto you to take the next step towards professional trading?
Well, I guess that's it, Paul. We've known each other for around 12 months, and over that time period, we've gotten to know each other quite well. You sit on our investment committee now, and we greatly appreciate your input. I believe Actions to Wealth has a great process and system for helping to educate traders and arm them with tools and information so they can be successful. We're a wholesale manager only, so we don't do any marketing or sales. And I guess the other thing is one of my colleagues who works out of Dubai, I think he's known you for 8 years or more. He's probably been along with your journey as well. So thanks to John in Dubai, if you're ever going to see this, for introducing us.
Yeah, look, it's nice. I worked with John in London for a period of time. It is cool how that group of people, I guess we've all got little organisations in our background. Adam, I can think of one that you've been involved with where the people move on, but they seem to stay in touch. There seems to be little organisations in the past where there's little networks that you keep in touch with. And where I worked with John, a number of us stay in touch and, enjoyed his company. And enjoyed coming back and working with him and you over the time.
I guess just on that, the market's a huge place, and
Look, I lost all sound in there. Did you guys lose sound in there as well?
Certainly did, Paul.
What I'm going to do now is I'm going to talk for a few minutes while Mai tries to work out where we were and see if we can restart that. But the whole thing froze me, and I wasn't sure whether there was some kind of internet issue in New Zealand or whether there was a bit more going on there. I will ask Mai. I've got a few messages. I'm going to have to check messages while I'm talking, and I think Mai will be working pretty hard on getting us back to where we were, so we can do that. In the meantime, look, guys, good chance to get any feedback, any questions. Nice to see a few people in the room. It's good to see a number of you guys back this week and to see some new people in the room. So welcome along to all of you. Look, if you have any questions or comments on what we've seen so far from Adam, please feel free to put them in the box, and we will take those, answer those, or comment on those. If you don't, then I'll probably great. Mai lost connection. Mai, are you ready to go again? Great. Let's go back to mine and see if we can pick it up. I'll come back in if there's any problems. Organizations in the background, Adam, I can think of one that you've been involved with where the people move on, but they seem to stay in touch. There seems to be little organizations in the past where there's little networks that you keep in touch with. And where I worked with John, a number of us stay in touch and, enjoyed his company and enjoyed coming back and working with him and you over the time.
I guess just on that, the market's a huge place, and to have collaborative efforts involved in trading, everyone can win and make profits. It doesn't reduce your ability to do well trading in sharing that knowledge with other people.
I really like that, Adam. I wonder in today's world, I can't think of many people who are successful alone anymore in today's world. Most people have got people writing speeches for them. They've got mentors. They've got somebody in their team. It's actually quite hard to on your own succeed in today's world. Having some people around you to help, I think, is a hugely important part of that, and it's part of the culture of what you guys do that I really like being around and enjoy being part of. Mate, so I think we touched this a little bit, but for you personally, why give back? Well, I guess we covered a little bit, but again, for you personally, actually perhaps more generically, we're really lucky. We have a number of really experienced professional traders who choose to give back. Why do experienced professional traders choose to give back?
Sure. I guess from my perspective, there's two elements. One is at the personal level, and one is at the professional level. At the personal level, I know that I've been helped in my journey with a couple of mentors along the way, going back into the early 2000s, and it's a good feeling to share knowledge and potentially participate on someone else's journey to becoming a successful trader. So it's good from a personal perspective, and of course from the professional perspective, it makes sense to have multiple strategies running on your account, right? It's the I think the expression is it's the only free lunch in financial markets, and that's diversification.
Yeah. The ability to have your positions hedged because people are trading profitably in other directions to other traders is hugely important to money for mine. If you want to have money involved, the truth is if you get one side of a market often enough, one day it kicks your butt. That's just the way markets work. And having some level of hedging by having other people trading other approaches, I'm a big fan of the approach. So when we talk about styles of trading, what can you tell us about your style of trading?
So I essentially act as a risk manager, sitting over what are predominantly algorithmic approaches. So I quite like the systematic approaches because you can blend different timeframes and different instruments.
Yep.
To hopefully get a diversified approach. But saying that, there is another component which I really enjoy, and I don't waver, but I like to allocate capital to both of them. So you've got the purely systematic, which is just 100% rules-based, takes out the emotion from trading, obviously. But then the other, I guess, complementary trading approach is to use algorithms or robots or some sort of automated execution approach to express what's essentially a macro view. And that macro view, I do have my own, but for the input on some of the capital that we're running, we have a very experienced analyst by the name of Jim Langlands, and he's traded markets for over 40 years. And he'll tend to form a view potentially between 1 and 3 months on the direction, for instance, of the US dollar, or it could be on gold.
Yep.
And you can actually apply some EAs or some robots to take trades in a risk-managed way that will back that view. So then you're essentially going into an area where you've got man and machine. So you can sort of formulate a view, and then you have your algorithms trade. And essentially it means trade from the one side, right? So rather than buy and sell across, say, gold or the euro US dollar, they'll only take long trades or buy trades. So
in the recent world, as an example, oil's been on a bit of a run. I know that Jim's been pretty bullish on oil recently. And one of the things for trend traders is what we haven't seen is a retracement to buy. And that's quite frustrating for a trend trader, right? So it's going up, and it's going up as close to a straight line, excuse me, as these products get, but we can't get in. But with an automation, an automated execution, it can not only get you in at the right place as you go up, but it can manage your risk automatically so that all the time your risk's under control on the journey, right?
Correct. And look, there is one automated approach which will keep buying that strength, but it will automatically place what's called a trail. It's like a stop loss, but it's really a lock-in profit amount that as the market goes in your favor, if there is a heavy retracement, it will actually stop out a few of those profitable trades and then potentially re-enter if it goes back up.
Nice. So what this means is instead of, we know, you and I both work with and know Ainsley, and we know when gold's on the move, she can go 3 or 4 days where she hardly sleeps, and she's still got to make great decisions while she's doing that. And what we're able to do with an execution robot is basically say, well, look, do this, and then we can watch it, but we can have some rest along the way and make sure that we're fresh enough to make good management decisions of what's going on with it.
Well, that's the idea. And with the particular robot that we use quite often is you really only have to monitor it probably once a day for, you can look at it a couple of times a day if you like, but it's going to conduct trades under a specific rule set, and it will just continue to do those until you either reduce the risk or you might take it off. But the idea is that you set your trade size and risk to a level that's comfortable for you and your account.
So what people really need to do this is to somehow get access to Jim Langland's macro view and then use the robot to execute in alignment. That's pretty much what you do, right? And what you do is you say, okay, well, look, I like his view and I'm kind of supportive of that, but I'm going to control the risk parameters as we go here because there's no getting into a hole. Because Jim Langland is a human being, right? I know his history, I know how good he is, but he's not going to be right 100% of the time, right? He's going to be right a lot of the time.
And look, and that's, again, one of the core things. And one of the questions you put to me in preparation for the interview today is I think it's much more important to look at your sort of rolling 6 and 12 month returns, not be so focused on what might happen in a week or a month. But if you have an overall view that makes sense and plays out, then yes, you will make good profits and you'll have an edge, and that's the other key to trading is if you do have something that's automated on there and you do take the odd loss, it's more acceptable because it's not because you hit a button that you shouldn't have hit or you took a trade that you didn't want to take. And then the other problem that often happens with discretionary traders, not all the time, of course, but is that it can be very hard to get back into a market if you've had a retracement and it's taken you out of a few positions. And that's why the robot will say it doesn't have any memory. It's only going to execute the trades, that it's set up to execute in its programming.
I really like that. So particularly helpful to people, to human beings that have emotions, right? If you're a human being that has emotions, then having a robot execute some of this stuff for you does help you to make sure that stuff doesn't control some decisions for you, right?
Correct. Psychologically, I think it's easier to have quite a few small trades on that build you into a position rather than have to sort of wait for, what's that exact moment that I'm going to, enter the market.
I remember when I was learning to trade, I spent, I don't know, a whole day, 6 hours waiting for gold to set up, and I went to the low and missed it. Came back, I hate trading.
And then your mindset is on, but I should be long, and I'm not long, and then it keeps going. And what do you do in that situation? It can be difficult. Yeah,
you start reacting to the fact you should be in and you're not, and this stuff does get in. And no matter who you are, the temptation. That's one of the things I tell my guys all the time is that the truth is for me, and I don't know if it's the same for you, Adam, but the emotions have never changed for me. I want to do the wrong thing as badly now as I did 10 years ago. I just don't do it anymore. But the driver, the emotion sits with me the same. It hasn't got all of a sudden, I don't want to do these things. I still want to do these things. I just don't do these things because you lose money when you do them, right?
Yeah, look, that's it. It's human nature to, get a bit upset or annoyed or think you've done something incorrect when you take a losing trade. But it's actually an essential part of overall portfolio or account growth is to have losses along the way.
Look, I just want to go back on something you said. You said that with your automated system, you get Jim's advice, you take a position, you put it on, and you look at it once or twice a day. And what I take that to mean is that you've now got enough confidence in the system, you don't need to monitor it overly, that you know that it'll work. That basically, if you have a macro view and you get it right, if you have a directional view and you get it right, and you set this thing up, you can leave it, and you're not going to come back and half your account's gone. It's not going to. And look, there's a word I want to just say. Take one of this now. There's no martingale crap going on here, right? There's no, build your risk, blow up your account. Those kind of things professional traders don't deal with, right?
Absolutely no martingale. It's just fixed position size. And it's also possible to, on this particular robot, set the maximum number of open positions. So you might want to be long crude oil every 50 cents, but you might only trade, half a lot, and you might only want to take a maximum of 6 positions on that. That can be set, and that gives you another level of confidence that it's not going to take on loads of extra trades.
It's done pretty well on crude oil, hasn't it? We've got an account which is running crude oil, and it has gone quite nicely on crude oil for us.
Well, the macro trader I'm speaking to at the moment has got a view that oil will be a bit higher, and I think that's a reasonable view as well. And it's making trades, and it's doing it in that risk managed way. Nice.
Look, if you're watching this, we're going to have Ainsley come and join us in a few minutes when the recording with Adam runs out. So we finish it off, and we'll talk a little bit more about trading and how she uses seasonality to impact and improve her trading. I want to stay with Adam for a few more minutes. We're also going to have my post a link to his program, and we've got a program he's going to talk about automated execution with us on Sunday, the 27th of June, I think it is. And entry to that closes on Thursday. So I'll post the link for anyone that wants to do that. But I want to come back and ask you maybe just 1 or 2 more questions. And my favorite question, Adam, if you had one thing you wished you'd learned earlier in trading, what would it be?
That is a bit of a tricky one. But I would say patience.
Yeah.
It's, whenever you start with a strategy or start trading on an account, or you move from, say, demo to live, or you increase your account, you're always very hungry to, just get out of the blocks, make that first 10 to 20% profit. But the fact is, it may take you several months or 6 months to get there. So, I'd say, what's the expression? Patience is a virtue. It is also the case, when you are trading, and you have to realize that the more important thing is your rolling 6 and 12-month returns. Hopefully, you can keep them always positive. There's going to be some swings and roundabouts along the way, but I think the expression is plan your trade and trade your plan, and that is appropriate to everyone who's in financial markets.
Yeah, I really like that too. Look, I was talking to a guy yesterday who's just banked over 10 grand in profit on one of his 12th accounts. I asked him what had changed, and he said it's just meditation and mindset. It's just about, the fact that when you miss a trade, you miss a trade, and that's life, and you're just going to find the next one because there's plenty more. And when you can control your mindset and you control your emotions, it's the old thing, isn't it? That trading's simple, not easy. It's
the markets are always there. If you're, I know you've got a couple of young children. Mine are a little bit older, but school holidays, if I'm going to go away and travel, I'm happy to close the books down for a week. Yes, you may miss a few opportunities here and there, but at the same time, the markets are always going to be there.
And it's a hell of a lot easier to come back from holiday, flat them down 4 or 5%, and feel like you're in a hole. You've got to dig your way out for 2 or 3 weeks after that. It is a nice thing to. This is where professionals just know how to manage themselves. If you manage yourself, as I say, try have a plan, trade your plan. Okay, mate. I really appreciate your time. I know it's an important day. I really appreciate you coming in and sharing with us. We will talk a bit more with Ainsley a little bit later on about this interview. I have no doubt at all. And I really think there's some really nice stuff for people to take away on this. And look, one of the things that automatic execution does give you is calmness, right? You just allow stuff to happen. And I like the stuff you're talking about 6 and 12 months. The truth is, if you trade for 12 months, my experience anyway, still now, is that in 12 months, I'm going to have a good day and I'm going to have a bad day. And if I let either of those things affect me, that will perpetuate a bumpy result for a period of time, as opposed to just going, well, it's just part of doing this. And, that's I'm risk controlled. Risk management takes care of me when it doesn't go my way. When it does go my way, don't get greedy. Stay calm. And I like that long-term view around profitability, because really what you make today just doesn't matter. What you make or lose today doesn't matter. What you make or lose over 6 or 12 months does matter, right?
That's
actually,
what
mate,
should be focused on.
Sorry, mate.
Yeah, that's what I agree should be focused on. It's sort of the medium and the longer term results. And it's a journey, not just the destination of putting 10% on an account. You want to grow these accounts over many years. Yeah,
man. I think you want to do what you would want to see if you were an investor. Someone turned up and said, "Hey, invested money, I made $100." So you go like, "What?" But if someone came up to you and said, "Hey, look, I've made money for the last 2 years," you might be interested. Look, I've got one final thing just to confirm with you. For people who are interested in the accelerator program, just a rough guide. We're looking for a period of time where profit doubles drawdown, right?
Yeah, I guess look, our acceleration program, we make a matched allocation. Again, it's in the generally $20,000 to $50,000 level. The account should have, or the trader should have, at least a few months of some profitable track record. Our metric for automatically increasing our size, so it's possible for someone to be able to, I think, about $250,000 after 6 months, is that the return over the drawdown is at 2 to 1. If you can do that, that's exceptional. So what that essentially means is if you're up 10 or 12% over 3 months, as long as your drawdown's not more than, say, 6%, that's super.
Yeah, look, I think that's a really good thing to know, Adam, isn't it? Because really what it tells you as a trader is that if you take bad trades and waste money, you're going to have to find some pretty good profit to make that equation work, right? And that controlling risk is the key to this. You can double a low drawdown. Doubling a high drawdown is hard. So thanks very much for that, mate. I really appreciate your time today. I do love the fact that people love to give back in that week. And the truth is that we don't know. If someone today will take 2 sentences from what you say, it'll change their trading career and life. We don't know where are the points that make these big differences. I really appreciate your openness and your honesty. I look forward to seeing you soon. Hopefully, we'll be back in Sydney and catch up for a beer. In the meantime, mate, enjoy your wedding anniversary tonight, and thanks again for your time.
All right. Thanks, Paul. Cheers.
Right, so everybody, look, I hope you got some value out of that. Got a few comments and questions, and got Ainsley in the room. I thought we might just run through some of the stuff and answer your questions, and then we'll move on to Ainsley and her questions. I do hope you get a lot out of these things. I really do. There's a bit of real genius in there from Adam. And my favourite part, Ainsley, is his talk about, focusing on 6 to 12 months and not today. But today can be good or bad, and really that'll pass. The question is, over a decent period of time, can you be profitable or not? And I think taking a really long-term view on trading is a really good thing to do.
Oh, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. And in fact, when I was coaching students, a lot of them would say, well, what should I have as a weekly target? And I just, whoa, stop. As soon as you start doing a weekly target, that's when you start to just chew away. You start with a monthly target and then go bigger, because you get to Wednesday, you haven't had any good setups for whatever reason, or you've had a bit of a drawdown. You know what you're going to start doing Thursday and Friday to make that target, don't you? So having a longer term target, much better, and reviewing accounts on a 6 to 12 month return is going to help you through with your ups and downs, because you all have ups and downs.
It's really interesting. When I was in London, a number of the guys on the floor, they would have a target for the month. And if they made that target, they'd stop trading for the month. And I'm exactly the opposite of that. If I make my target, then as far as I'm concerned, I'm in sync with the market and I want to smash it. And these targets become, people's goals and targets around trading can become far too short-sighted and start really affecting them. I like the Michael Bourne stuff when he came in and spoke to us on the New Opportunities Expo, and he said, look, if I wake up in the morning and I'm having a good day and I get down there and I make a trade and I make some money, I'm into it and I trade. And if I get down there and I'm having a bad day, I just don't go near the markets. And, I think there's something to be said for that, on a good day when things are going well, be positive and get into it. And if you're having a bad day, it's unlikely your mindset's, particularly good for being passive and making good decisions,
Look, when I first started, I thought it was a very easy thing with trading. Go in here, your stop loss is there, you take profit there, and that's a very pragmatic approach, and that really suited me. Took me a good hole in my account on a couple of occasions to work out it was 90% psychological, and dealing with the drawdown and dealing with when you have had a drawdown to get back in. And Adam touches on that, and that's one of the reasons he loves the robot, is it takes that emotion and that apprehension right out of the equation and just bypasses the head. Now, 10 years down the track, 11, whatever it is, 11 ish, even after I had a big whack in January, and I wasn't the best. It took me a while to get back. He said, get back in sync with the markets, to come back and get the market movement, be in touch with that market movement. It's a big thing. You don't realize how much it plays on you psychologically and what it does to your P&L.
Yeah, it's interesting how we react to these things. But let's run through the questions and see what we can do. Obviously, it'd be nice to have Adam here, but wedding anniversaries do take preference if you want to stay married, is my understanding of how this stuff works.
Priority, no doubt.
5 of the last 6 have been overseas. So how the robot manage the risk against huge corrections like March 2020? And look, I think, Ainsley, you've had a little play on the robot. I've had a little play on the robot. And I think one of the things with it is that the first thing is that you trade a bias. So if your bias is short, then it just makes a fortune on the run down in March. And if your bias is long, then when you realize you're wrong, you just get out, you just close it down. And because the market, sorry.
I was just saying, it's like Adam said, your bottom, because of the dynamic trailing stop, it protects. You'll lose a couple, but it will protect the risk in a big move, in a huge correction. So you're going to be protected.
Yeah, the trailing stop loss is a really important part of it, and I think manually you can just go and come out, and when you have a bias and it turns around and you want to trade it with the robot, you just turn the robot off, and so I think both things will make you reasonably safe. Look, I don't think there's anything in the world that means we'll never lose a game. There'll be times when it won't work, but overall, look, it's pretty interesting. I'm on the new man with this, and I think we made about 5% in the first month, or the first week, and we gave about a percent of that back now. Maybe just over a percent that got given back this week, and that's trading once. I'm up about, I think, 3.5% for the sort of 10 days I've been on it. But I've also had it running on oil, and I think we're up closer to 35-40% on that in a couple of weeks. Yeah. It's just a big move, and to be fair, the risk was a bit more extreme on that than it would be on the Forex stuff. So, these are the potentials that it's got, and I think one of the things that it's good at is maximizing profits and moves that go your way. So if you do get caught a little bit in something, well, so be it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was just saying, with the robot, it's not one of those things that you whack on and put it across 20 odd currencies. The idea behind it is that you have a view of the market, of which direction it's going. It's not a range trading robot, it's a trend trading robot.
And look, Mai's put the links in, and look, guys, what we're going to do with Adam, look, he's very conscious of the fact he hasn't done a lot of education. He doesn't want to do a full day non-stop, so he's going to do about 3 hours on the Sunday, the 26th, 27th, I think it is, and then 3 hours on July 31st. He's going to do a couple of different sessions. It'll be the 27th. If you do want to do those sessions, it's $97. Again, look, I think you guys get a bit immune to this, but reality is that we're talking about a top-class COO of a licensed organisation with a massive track record. He's managed $18 million in investor funds, and it's $97 to spend 2.5 days with him. If you're, I don't believe you can spend 2.5 days with Adam and not get $97 worth of value out of that. And if you do that, you'll get access as part of it. He will explain. As part of it, the robot will be explained. You'll also hear from his programmer, AJ, and I understand there's a possibility we'll hear from Jim briefly as well. Although, again, probably recorded. Jim's completely retired. He just made so much money. It's ridiculous. And he now lives on the beach and does this stuff as a mate of Adam's. He doesn't do anything else for anyone else that I'm aware of. Do they use a standard percent trailing stop loss, or is it dynamic algorithm based? I think inside the robot you can set a trailing stop as the answer to that, Greg, and you can leave it if you want to. There are some options inside the system to do either of those, is my understanding from memory. And I haven't, while I've done some stuff on this, I haven't done the settings myself, so that is perhaps a question more for Adam if you do get to see him in a week or so. Anything to add on that, Angelie?
It's not a percentage trailing stop. It's dynamic, and it's in line with the previous entry level. So once it moves up in line with the previous entry level of the previous lot size that's gone in. So that's how we're saying that the risk is protected. You'll lose a couple if there's a major correction, but that it's not a percentage, and it does move up on a dynamic base, and it's allocated as per the entry of the previous lot.
Look,
makes sense.
Got a question here from Mike. May we know Adam's average return on investment annually in the latest past 5 years? Yeah, Mike, if you want to do that, just go to Miles Capital and have a look for the 3 funds that he manages. He's got $10 million in assets. There'll be records available through the Miles Capital website, I would think. I should point out that the Tommy Trader, which is the automated system the automated execution system that he uses, is not part of that. He's got a trading record on Tommy Trader. They've used a variation of it. They've only finished evolving it. We've got a track record that goes for the last, 2 or 3 months, but it's ridiculous. It's 10% a week. I don't think that's, and I should say this right on record. We're not going to make 10% a week. That's ridiculous, right? So I don't think we have a long-term track record. Well, I'm gonna just go out and just get up there and tell you guys the truth, right? Adam's going to offer access to that robot at a price at the end of his course, or he's going to have us do it because he can't do it because he's on a wholesale trading license. And we'll talk about it, or one of our guys will talk about it. But he's going to put a little trial out at a very, very favourable rate. And if you think that the track record is not good enough, then don't take the very, very favourable rate. Wait for the track records to firm up over the next 12 months and pay the full retail price. And that's only fair, right? that's a reasonable thing to do. We're partnering with them on this, and we've asked them to come in and make it very available early. But if it does what it's doing now, it won't be the same a year from now. Can't be. It's just we want to do this. I hope that helped, Mike. And the 3 Miles Capital funds, Alpha,
Luna,
and
Apollo. Is that right?
So, I think it is. Yeah. If you can't find that on the website, just let Adam know and contact us. I'm sure he'll send you out his records, but they're not the records for this automation, this execution. They're the records of the licensed funds that Miles Capital run. They've only got a short-term record for this. And in all honesty, I'm reluctant to show it to you because it's so good that it, I don't really want to be, putting that kind of stuff out in the market because I don't believe it's sustainable to make the money that record shows long term. I know they did make it over that period of time, but that doesn't mean it's sustainable long term. We need to be careful about that. It's a great question, Mike. I think it's really important to get these things out and done, so I appreciate it. Is this a similar concept to the turtle traders, each getting along every 50 cents? I'm hoping less of us will have breakdowns personally. Greg, I think what we're talking about here is having a direction and entering, like literally on oil, you can enter every 50 cents, every $1, every $5, every $10. You just choose that, right? And if it goes up, you get put in, all the way along, and you try your stop up, and when it comes back down, it cleans out the positions and starts again. So again, I'm really, I'm trying to find a balance between sharing what I know about Adam's product and encouraging you guys to just jump on the program and, and spend some time with him. He can explain it in more detail. And most importantly, the time with Adam in the program won't be just about, this is an execution model, but he was talking about his approach to trading and those kind of things. And, how you can get a macro view similar to the one he gets from Jim. I mean, obviously Jim's view is, it's only sent to 3 people and Adam's one of them. So he talked about having a macro trader with a view long on oil, which is why we're in it. That's me, as opposed to anyone else. But he'll show you how to get that kind of view so he can support you in using the tool if you do his program.
He's been around for a long time, Adam. And like I said, we've had a bit of a play on the robot, and it's been really, really interesting when it was trending with your view, with your macro view. It's really good.
Look, and in lots of ways, Ainsley, this is what it's trying to do, right? When you get your view right, it's trying to make you a large multiplier, and when you get your view wrong, so if you're trading at 0.25%, you may have 4 losing trades and there's 1%. But, when you get along, you might get 10 or 15 big winners and you might make 15, 20%. And that's really what it's trying to do as an event. And it's about getting that macro view right. Yeah. And look, if you just put this robot on a chart and guess, you get the same results if you do anything else on the chart and guess. It's not magic or anything. You've got to have this direction. You can use it. One of the reasons Ainsley's in here to talk about seasonality is because seasonality is one of the tools that you guys can use. You can use Adam will help you to find a bias like Jim's, but you could use something like seasonality here as a bias. And when you're wrong, just jump out. I'm going to run through these, Angie, because I actually want to have some time talking to you, and I've only got 12 minutes left. Can Adam show us the last 12 months results, Eddie? I think we covered that in the earlier question about that. Do you accept crypto traders with 2 or 2-to-1 profit DD ratios? Hi, Simon. I would have thought this was way higher than that, mate, to be honest. Look, they don't because they're MT4 trading at this stage, but we can always organise a chat with you and Adam and see if they want to do something else. They do have access to different ability to trade on different licenses. Not right now is my understanding, unless you're doing that on MT4, buying Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin through a program like the Fusion Markets one.
Can I just say, Simon, by the way, I had the robot running on Bitcoin on a demo account. That was frightening when it was on a run. Yes. We're talking about leveraging a run up. That was frightening what it did to my account. So yeah,
that was a deal. One of the things that I'm with you, Ainsley. I expect to get my hands on this thing more properly early next week, and the first thing I'll be looking to put on is Bitcoin. I just think, and to be honest, The next thing I'll put it on is S&P and NASDAQ. As soon as I have a view on direction on that, these things which have got long-term trends, how much money you'd make on the way up before, you got caught out a little run back and go to the back. It's great. It's insane. And look, I think this is a cool toy, and I really look forward to seeing it come into the database. Look, I do want to jump into a little bit of stuff with Ainsley about the seasonality stuff, because what we're talking about here is, we call it the strategy bias group, right? Where you get the bias and you try and trade that bias. And we trend trade, extend, retrace, but you can just trade the break. You can just trade the move, right? And that's what we did on oil earlier this year. So we're doing with oil on Tommy Trader now. And seasonality is one of those things that gives you a chance to have a directional bias and just trade the bias, right? As opposed to waiting for retracements. I guess one of the things that people always ask, for mine, Ainsley, why do you use seasonals, and do you think they impact the market, and sort of how do you think they do that?
Okay. It took me a while to get hold of seasonals, and I think it was a course of progression initially, because my first introduction was watching, I had seen Julian do a presentation on the sentiment cycle. That was, it was written by Justin Mammas, or defined by Justin Mammas, and it's one of those things, it's a cycle, and it can, because it's a cycle, it shows you inflection points, okay? So where market goes up or comes down, or where you expect it to move down further or whatever. And one of the things with the cycle, as opposed to seasonality, which I learned about further down, was that cycle will be something that you can apply on a really small time frame, as well as a daily time frame or a monthly chart. With seasonality, you're looking at trends. So the trend, where are we going to see it move up? Where are we going to see maybe a retracement in the market or something like that? So that's going to give you a different perspective. So the seasonalities, so the cycle will give you the movements within, and like I said, you can look at that on a really small time frame, 5 minutes, an hour, up to daily, monthly, whatever. But seasonality is the trend is getting into the right side of that cycle to leverage and boost what you're doing. That's what you want to do. So the combination of the two was pretty powerful. It's a bias, it's not an entry. You still got to look at the way it's moving. So your cycle side of things gives you.
This is so important, isn't it? That seasonals give you a bias and price action gives you a confirmation. And again, what you're trying to do is, when you have a seasonal bias, is what you're trying to do is you're trying to maximize a profit. And if it's wrong and it doesn't happen, and nothing's 100% right, just get out, right? And take a 1% loss, and when you win reasonably big. How accurate do you think they are overall, Ainsley?
I think they are pretty accurate. And the thing is, with those seasonal charts that you get, with Markets Made Clear, and there are a couple of others out there as well, but Markets Made Clear is great as well, is this is
like us?
Like us.
The seasonal charts inside the market bias group, you get access to full seasonal charts as well as COT, right?
That's
so all
right.
that stuff is in there as well, right?
Yeah, so what you're doing is you start with a chart, and then you start layering on the information that will give you a better and stronger bias for actually entering the market. For me, that's as soon as you put money in the market, it's not just, we're not teaching people how to gamble. We're not teaching them this is a casino. You're taking the highest and best probable risk trade you can take. You're putting money in the market, and that's money that you've earned or won when you're down. So they are pretty accurate. And then I think it's because it's year after year after year after year. And a lot of the seasonal trends started with things like coffee or a lot of the commodities because of the weather patterns.
Because of the seasonality of them. Because they are seasonal to some degree, right? Coffee has a season. And so it's one of the things, right, is that seasonality developed more in commodities and has come into indices, and then has come into Forex. And the truth is, one of the reasons is because it impacts Forex. When something's in season being exported, it affects flow of money in and out, and has an impact on markets over a period of time. Look, it's one of those things that
I was just saying history 101, but it makes sense, doesn't it? You know, seasonality was first done with the commodities that gave it a history. It was a huge history.
Look, it's one of the things I really like about seasonality. Look, it's all different in the way that we do this. And I think one of the things that you and I are the same, Adrian. You and I are quite different type traders, but one of the things that we're the same. I like for things to make logical sense to me.
Yes.
And seasonality does make logical sense to me. I understand that you know, there is a Christmas run on gold and there is an Indian wedding season. And then in the run up to that, people are buying gold to make it into things to sell in those seasons. And there's going to be more demand for gold and the price of gold will adjust. And that makes complete sense to me. So seasonality for me, for mine, I understand. And because I understand it, I'm really comfortable using it. I was going to ask you, so you say that seasonality is not an entry, and that's cool. It's not, I get that. Do you use it on its own or do you combine it with something else?
I combine it with, it's said price action. Seasonality is definitely a strong bias I look at, especially because I do trade those big commodities, gold and oil. And as you said, as soon as those big the Dow and the S&P are going to be affected, and the currencies, etc. So understanding the correlations is another one, but also price. But for me, the price is the ADX and the average directional index, and I like to use DI plus and minus, combine that with the MACD, because the MACD will also show me, apart from convergence and divergence, when you start actually dissecting this, and it's a really good indicator. And as Ash said, I'm the only person he knows who uses the MACD and ADX.
Like I said, Angie, I shake my head because I hate MACD. But MACD was the first indicator that I ever learned, and I had no idea how to use it properly, right? So I went, divergent. It doesn't work anymore.
Oh God, it shows you so much. It can show you long trend bias, short trend bias. It can show you momentum. It can show you overbought, oversold. It can show you cycle. It really shows you clearly.
This is what we were talking about earlier, right? Is that what traders do is they find one or two or three tools, probably three tools, I would think, on average, and they become really good with them. And what retail traders do, amateur traders do, is they become really average at 200 things.
Oh God!
And what you've got to do eventually is go, what works for me, and I'm going to work with this for a year and see if I can not what I would like to have work for me, what actually works for me, and I'm going to use it for a year. And I'm going to become bloody good at it, so I can turn it into a genuine edge as opposed to an imaginary edge. Look, so I really do like that. Is there anything that you look at the moment seasonally and you think, I reckon most of the time there's one or two seasonal options around? Do you have any at the moment?
Oh, I've got a couple at the moment. They're absolute crackers. Now, the first one I'm going to tell you about is, and I did some research on this one because Larry Williams is also a big seasonal trader. He's a veteran trader out of the state. He used to be in the States. He's down in the Cayman Islands, but Larry Williams, he did an update last week, and it's on YouTube if you want to go back and cross-check it. But there are a couple that he said to be aware of in this next coming week, because June has, on the 8th last trading day left in June, and it has a 95% accuracy on the S&P for a short. Now, why I'm flagging this one is because
8th last trading day, right?
Is next Monday. And what is next Monday?
Third Monday of the month.
Third Monday of the month. So be careful is one of the things, that's all I can say. But this one has
okay, it's Tuesday, Ainsley.
30 days in June.
So 30, 29, 28 is 3 days.
Yeah. 8th last trading day of the month.
4, 5, 6,
and there's 5 days.
Wrong, it's 21. It's 20. Like I was saying, Angie, it's the Monday. It's our
Excellent.
So that's interesting. Because one of the things that I'm looking for at the moment is I'm looking for, is the stock market's going to sell, and are we going to see another little rundown? Perhaps a bigger one we've seen recently, and so things just started to interest me. So I'll have a look on next Monday. Look,
Yep.
I have this thing with the S&P. I buy it on the third Monday of the month. I don't care. I just buy it because it works so often. But I'll keep an eye on it next week as well. I may
Keep an
well
eye
have,
on those shorts.
yeah. I
Yep.
may well buy it at the start of the day with a double-sized sell order under the bar for
Underneath.
Friday. Yeah.
Yeah. But I just like that one because he said it had a 95% accuracy, and I think he said 21 out of the last 23 years. So it's not the last 5 years. It's
Yep.
actually quite a good one. The other one he's got is he's forecasting oil to continue to go.
$100, right? It's going to 100. It's going at least to mid-90s, I'd have thought.
$90. So I was with the trading buddies earlier this evening, and they were just saying, so where do you think it's going to go to? And I just, when it was at $30, everybody said, oh, it might get 50. It might go to $50. And I said, now that, when we were at $50, it was going to go to, it looks like it's going to go to $70 or $80. And now we're there at $72. People are saying, 100, not a problem. So I've read through reports now, oilprice.com and Bloomberg, and one in, I think it was Daily FX. I've read a couple now where they're actually predicting of it going up around to the 90, if not $100 by the end of the year. And I think it's because OPEC have actually been really good with keeping their producers, on a really short leash this year.
Yeah, it's going to be. I think oil is one of the really interesting plays. I quite like the seasonal up on it. So that's, and again, the seasonal up on oil is quite a long seasonal. It actually starts early March, doesn't it? And runs through for most of the next 6 months.
Yeah, so we've had a few pullbacks in April, May, but then we've been on this run, and it is a seasonal bias. So it's been really good. Now the other one with July with gold, and I've been sitting waiting patiently because gold's been all over the shop, and we've had some ups and downs, and we had a down last Friday, and it drove me nuts, and we just wanted to get it going again. But the first week of July through to the end of August is a strong seasonal for gold. If you recall, last year I had a really lovely time on gold when it ran out from the end of June up to the end of August when it hit 2000. So yeah, that was that seasonal bias as well. So that was quite good. Let's see how we go with the Fed tonight, tomorrow morning, 4 a.m. And I don't know, but at the moment, is that going to hit gold? Will we have a bit more of a pullback? Quite possibly before it then takes off. But it's that first week of July I'm looking for that move up. So they're my three main ones anyway that are going to impact us pretty shortly. I don't know, whack the robot on every 25 cents. I don't know, fall on oil.
That's getting a little bit aggressive for mine, but look, it's one of those things where this is where you'll learn, and this is where you want to have a bit of input from Adam and his people on how to do this stuff. One of the things, Angie, for mine that I really like it, right? So no one's saying that oil's going up or gold's going up or the S&P's going down. What we're saying is to have a way of looking for that. Ainsley will use her indicators and price action, and you need to work out what you're going to use to confirm it. And when you have a confirmation, then you want to get in. Look, if you do it with a breakout style robot, it'll put you in repeatedly as you go up and try your stop loss. And it's the kind of thing that to do that manually, you've got to be full time at home, right? You've got to be in front of your screen the whole time. And this is where the robot can come and do this kind of stuff. I really like Adam. He says he looks at it once a day. I know that thing. Depending on how aggressive you set it, it might take him 10 trades while you're away, and it still manages itself in a way that's safe enough for. Let's be clear here. I really like him. He's one of the most, actually, one of the most conservative traders I know. Right?
Look, he is. He's a detail guy. We get on like a house on fire. But he's conservative and he misses nothing, and he's so,
Look, if you're in the strategy bias group, you should know that you get access to the seasonal charts. And if you don't, contact the team and have them sort it out for you. So you can just go to the Graduate Series and log in, and you can access the seasonal charts for a number of the different options that we talked about today, as well as the COT charts. They're all in there as well. If you're in the seasonal bias group or the strategy bias group, you'll have that. If you're not in there and you want to be in there, then just drop us a message and we'll sort that out for you. Cheers, Mike. Thank you, mate. You know, and if you want to do Adam's program, then click on the link and register for $97. Again, I think, you know, it's pretty good value. I think it's amazingly good value.
Yeah.
Now, we might wind up tonight by asking, again, if you're on Facebook or YouTube and you want to go into the draw, then write your name in so we know that you're there. If you're on in the Zoom session, then Mai will add you to the draw, and the winner of today's draw will get to do Adam's program for free. And if you've paid, we will refund you. And if you haven't paid, there's no need to pay. Obviously, that's what for free means. So you'll be spending 2.5 days with Adam, and he goes through explaining this thing about automated execution, which, to be honest, I just have a feeling might be the next thing that's coming. I think we're probably, you know, an automated execution robot that's clever, and these guys are clever. You know, the guy Jim and the programmer AJ, they are clever dudes. And look, we've got some Peter, Jeff, clever dudes in our organisation as well. But you know, I'd spend some time with them as well.
And can I just say,
I'll spend some time with them.
If you're not a technical person, do Adam's course, because if he could actually get me to understand how to use the robot, you should be good. I'm not a techo person at all.
The robot's filling in 3 boxes, sort of thing. It really is. Yeah, you can use it really simple.
I understood it.
Look, Maya, are you ready? Are we going to do a prize draw, Maya? Are you ready to go? Rightio. Actually, I've got the attendees in the room, and I maybe on Wednesdays, Crystal does something else. She's not with us today, I don't think. So I'm not going to see Crystal wins in the chat box non-stop as we do our prize draw. Always good fun to have her in the room. Maya, pick us a winner, eh? Maybe Charlene wins.
Ooh.
Rightio, JS. I don't know why, but when you're sharing and I speak, I get a big echo. So there must be some setting on there that you're not clicking or are clicking or something to have a look at. JS, wasn't it? JS, if you're in the room, you need to let us know you're here. You've got about 10 seconds to click in the chat that you are here. And if you do that, then you will get the prize. JS Lim, if you're in the room still, then click on this and let us know. So you are in the room, are you listening? JS, I'm going to, yeah, there you go. Mate, you've got to win a mile. I'll take your details and she will pass them on to James, and you'll get to spend some time with Adam in a couple of weeks on the Sunday. My recollection is about 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Sunday week, the 26th, 27th, somewhere around there. Enjoy it. Look, as always, guys, the whole point of this show is to bring professional traders to you and have you learn from them. Actually, I'll tell you what, guys, if you know a professional trader who might come on board and share some stuff, put me in touch and I'll have a chat with them. I'm really keen to keep putting people on the show that are fascinating, and I love the show. I'd like to keep doing it most weeks. So if you know somebody who might come and be interviewed and have a chat, that'd be awesome. We love chatting with traders. In the meantime, guys and girls, thank you very much for joining us. Remember, stay calm, make good decisions, and over time it all works out for you. And I really liked Adam's thing about 6 to 12 month windows, about not getting too upset about a good or bad week or month. And by the way, if you're trend trading this market and you're anywhere near break even, you're doing a bloody good job. I'm right on break even because I'm simply not trading Forex right now because the market, it just needs to break out and go. Maybe dollar CAD's on the way, actually. Maybe dollar CAD's on the way. We'll wait and see the next couple of days whether that frames up, close runs through. Look, Angie, it was a pleasure to have you on the show, and nice to have some really clear stuff, right? So seasonality is about grabbing a direction. You need a couple of confirmers for it before you trade it. For you, it's indicators. Can be a number of other things as well. You can tie it into if you want to. For now, S&P on Monday, 95% chance of going short historically. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but historically, oil and gold, oil looking for a buy on the next pullback, really, or breakout if you've got that kind of trading available to you. And gold looking for an early July rally. Let's see if we can catch it and grab some of that. Ainsley, indeed a pleasure, Charlene. Ainsley, if you on Sunday, I think that I won't be in, and your section might be recorded because we're on IFP this weekend, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if I don't see you on Sunday, I'll see you the following Sunday, and I'll see you guys back next Thursday. Just quietly, we've got a couple of pretty massive announcements brewing away in the background. Hopefully, we'll be able to bring you something in the next 2 or 3 weeks. We've got some pretty exciting stuff we're working on. Should be able to share some more stuff on that over the next 2 or 3 weeks. So stay tuned, watch the shows, and we'll see you soon. Thanks, everyone. See you.
Bye.